Well, thank you for that question. What we're seeing is customers have realized that the first generation's contracts that we had in managed services, which we typically would describe as like for less, have shown their limits in certain cases. Of course, it helped realize certain savings, but the world is changing very fast, and customers need to adapt and to transform their network. So we see more and more requests for how can you help us transform our network faster? How can you help us bring this network into a platform which we can use to monetize and create new services? And that's driving a completely different perspective in terms of the engagements that we are having since a few years now. So we've adopted from the beginning a strategy which was very much focused on being multi-vendor, multi-technologies, and we're keeping that. However, we see that we need to add probably more of our IP, our intellectual property, into the value proposals for the managed services contract in order to really bring the whole of Alcatel Lucent technologies, solutions, applications to really create and enable these transformations and these changes. And that's a trend which we believe is only going to accelerate as customers, as was discussed during this conference, put more and more emphasis into the customer experience management, which they absolutely need as a critical need to reduce churn and cope with the mobile data explosion. On the one hand, you'd have the large transformational service opportunities. I've got my legacy platforms. I need to transform and move into IP end-to-end and to create new value-added services platforms very quickly, reduce time to market, reduce the risk as well with regards to customer adoption. This is one category. The second one is around, I would say, the customer experience management tools and systems. Most of the customers actually believe that customer experience management is key. I mean, it's more than 80%. However, 1/3 only think that they have the right tools to manage that. We're bringing the tools, I mean, that's part of our Motive suite of services, for instance, and we're bringing the managed services value proposal that wraps it around so that we help the customers take benefit of these great technologies, be it on analytics, be it on mobile subscriber data analysis and so on, so that you can really create the value proposal for your customers and the customer's customers. Well, we will definitely see CEM as a service to a certain extent. Now, the one thing which obviously won't be outsourced is the management of the relationship itself, right? And there is a layer of activities around, if you take CEM end-to-end, which starts from the how you advertise, how you put your brand in front of the customer, which is part of the customer experience, which we do not see as being outsourced. We are more focusing on the central parts of the customer experience management, meaning when the customer has ordered the service and when he uses it and when he has to report on failures. This part, I think, is probably increasingly going to rely on an ecosystem in which the technology vendor, the managed services vendor, will be intricately linked with the carrier and the customer. And that will take several forms, including the managed services and outsourcing. I think if we take a parallel with the IT industry, which I think is probably relevant, we'll see a continued development towards what we call industrialization, meaning that the vendors, in order to remain competitive, they really have to continue investing in standardized platforms for all of the, I would say, mundane, repetitive tasks that can be brought, where you can bring the scale as a managed services vendor versus what the operator would do on his own. So standardization, industrialization is one trend which I believe will continue. The second element is, as we see the IT/TI convergence, which the cloud is promising, which the new architectures like radio, for instance, will bring in the mobile space, we will see more and more of the managed services disciplines which are at play in the IT industry probably transpire into the TI industry, the telecom infrastructure industry. That's the second dimension. And then the third one, I think that customer experience management is here to stay for quite some time, simply because we live now in a data world, and the voice element of the networks is taking less and less relatively important, yes.